Sunday again, guys. Okay. Couple things. First off, I have to clean up a lot. Like plates full of like, well, I guess this one's not full, but it's got little tiny beads. I just dropped a lot. Okay. Because all of the beadwork on the front of my niece's prom dress was hand stitched. I didn't know I could do that until today. Well, until like the last month. Anyway, and I had a great time doing it, but what I forgot about beads, because I played with them and worked with them as a child, is that they take up a lot more space than you'd anticipate, because you have to lay them all out in a functioning capacity. Whereas with like sewing, if I really need to, I've literally stacked all of the pieces and all the things required for a project in like a little pile and just sorted through them. But you can't do that as easy with beads. Maybe you can. Maybe there's a setup or a system that works, but as somebody who doesn't really work with beads usually, I didn't have that. I had 2 little snack plates, and then the containers that some of the other beads came in. Thank God those were closed. I realized after I picked them up that they might have been open, but they were closed. But there's going to be a lot of this, and then cleaning up my sewing stuff and resetting the house and some systems, because we have a really big undertaking today. Not my last video, but my second to last video, the one from back in March, end of February, March. At the end, I promised you guys a character build that I was going to take a look at. I need my coffee. Oh, this is Dubai pistachio. You can't really see the green as much anymore, but it's from Birdhouse, and it was like bright fluorescent green, and it's really good. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, second to last video, from back in like March when I was posting more consistently, I told you guys that I was going to do a character build, that I had come up with what I thought were reasonably aligned training splits that had to do with the different D&D classes. And then I told you that I was going to build out a character and that I was going to use them. And that's still not a lie, and I still owe you that video, but we're going to do it a little differently. So instead of making a character with the intent of, I just dropped 7 of them on the table instead of them going into the tube. Okay, instead of me making a character and then talking about how I would play them in a D&D campaign, I am going to do something that I honestly didn't think I was going to do. I have a setup for habit tracking that is based around D&D XP systems, and I've been using it for 1.5 years, and I love it. I've shared it with you guys in the past. I think I had a very long video about it. And as much as I love it, I think I'm ready to tackle something a little different. So I'm going to finish cleaning up, and then we are going to tackle setting up a new notebook, a new bullet journal, as a tracker, as a spell book. I am going to, let me finish cleaning, and then I'll show you and I'll tell you about it. Okay, the space was cleaned, and then I immediately piled all my stuff back up on top. So we are going to do a character build, as I promised. And is it going to be a fantasy and fitness deal? Absolutely. I'm going to actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone, maybe more than 2, a whole flock with 1 stone, because I also noticed that I have been getting very disorganized lately, and that I have been using a lot of notebooks. This isn't all of them. This is not even like half, because I've got like 3 more at work, and then I've got a couple more, I think, hidden in different places, because every time I start something new, I feel like I need to have a new notebook. So I get a planner, and then I get a journal, and then I get another planner, and then I get something for D&D, and then I get something for brain dumps, and then I do at least half of those a second time, because I feel like I need something separate for work. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to start a new notebook with a new tracking system that is based a lot on the last one that I went over. This is just one of those basic bullet journals that I tossed a lot of stickers on. And there's one on the back. And this is what we're going to use. So this is going to replace everything except for this. This is my D&D notebook, and I have like 9 months worth of campaign notes, and I do not have the energy to transcribe them all, and I don't want to have to do 2 notebooks for D&D. I feel like that would defeat the purpose. So this is going to be everything except for my actual campaign play, which will be in here. But I've already started to set it up because if I'm going to make myself a character, we're going to go hard. Where's the first page? So I started making a character sheet. This is something that I've done a lot before in the past when I've been doing my solo campaigning. I've done a version, well, I'll show you. So I play solo D&D on my own sometimes, and that is literally just DM-less play where you have either a pre-built campaign or like helpful tables of some capacity, and you do your own game. So I at one point was playing a game. I was playing a game with 2 different paladins. So I had all of their stats and information here, and then this is where I did the breakdown for their spell list. So I figured if I'm making myself into a character, we'd use the same basic thing. So we're going to start actually with building out my character, and I'm going so far as to use the new Player's Handbook. So we're going to dive into it, and I'm pretty certain the first thing, that's another character. I have a lot of characters planned that I haven't played yet, and I just shove them in here. Let's see. If we go in the order that the book recommends, I don't always, but we'll give it a go. To create your character, it says you should choose your class, determine your origin, determine ability scores, choose an alignment, and then fill in details. I will be skipping step 4. If I'm making myself into a character, I'm not going to give myself an alignment. I'm just going to be as I am. And then for filling in the details, I will be filling them in as I go in this and sharing it with you guys. So this character, the entire purpose of it is going to be to get me from where I am right now with having a lot of information and knowledge and fundamental concepts in my brain, but then developing the skills to actually run my marathon in October. I've got 4.5 months. I have a decent base, I think. So it shouldn't take me, no, it should take me all 4 months, but it shouldn't be impossible. But because I have spent so much time researching and looking into things and thinking of like different ways to run and what's going to work best for me and just how I naturally operate, I have decided that I'm going to start as a wizard. In a video that I made a while back, and I'll put the link in the description if you're interested, I set out to kind of identify what workout types best aligned with each class and then what workout volume best aligned with each class. And spellcasters had the lowest volume, which is not going to get me to marathon training, which means I am going to be multi-classing. And I've already decided what my second class is going to be. I'm going to multi-class wizard monk. So that's the build that I'm going to take on and the angle that I'm going to take during my marathon training, because I want to approach it from a place of intelligence and wisdom, and then also will build up my constitution and a bit of my strength. So I've already decided that my starting class is wizard. I have filled that in at the top of my character sheet that I made for myself. I just have class and level, background, race, and XP. Race, I am going to just say that I'm a human. So next up, I have to determine my origin. So I'm going to skip to the origin part. That's wizard. That means we're close. Character origins. So you have your species and then you have your background. Now, I also think that I want to share a little bit more of everything else that I do. I do a lot of cooking, I do a lot of sewing, I do a lot of other crafts, I do a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and I feel like that might lead, let's see, I was thinking artisan or sage. Let's see. Let's go with artisan. I think artisan is going to be the best descriptor that I have for the knowledge that I'm coming in with. So with an artisan, you get ability score boost for strength, dexterity, or intelligence. So at least 3, so I can increase one by 2 and another by 1, or increase all 3 by 1. So that is going to be, what was that? Strength, dexterity, and intelligence. I'm going to wait to see what my ability rolls are for each of those, and then I am going to go from there. But it does mean that I have the crafter feat. Oh no, I didn't, hold on. That oh no was because I realized that I've been showing you guys this and there had been a hole right here that I meant to make a tiny, tiny box for feats. So I'm going to also write down the crafter feat. I get proficiency in a type of artisan's tools. I know off the top of my head some of them. I'm going to say weaver's tools, because that is the closest thing that they have to a sewing machine. And then starting equipment is either artisan's tools, 2 pouches, oh no, A or B. Yeah, artisan tools, 2 pouches, traveler's clothes, and 32 gold pieces. I'm not keeping track of gold pieces because I unfortunately don't have a way to replicate that in my real life. But I do have sewing tools. I have many bags. So I know I have a kit, not a kit, I have a backpack for running that'll count, and I have a ton of other bags that I hide all my stuff in. So I have more than 2 pouches. Traveler's clothes, which I think count as my running gear, and then the gold that we're not going to include. Okay, so I haven't decided yet what ability scores I'm adding to, but otherwise, one other thing. You get 2 skill proficiencies. So for artisan, we get investigation and persuasion. So also bubble those in. So you can start to see it coming together. So we start with that, and then we go to a couple more species. Hello. Let's see, where is the human page? That's halflings. I know how words work. So my speed is 30 feet, which sounds about right to me right now. I know I've been doing some distance running, but my pace isn't great, so I don't think I would get a boost to my speed right now. Resourceful. What does that mean? Gain heroic inspiration when you finish a long rest. That sounds right, actually. I don't know if that is a feat, but that's the best place to put it for me. I get skillful, proficiency in 1 skill of my choice, and versatile. You gain an origin feat. Skilled is recommended. Okay, I'm just going to rag up my proficiencies. Let me go back to my wizard subclass and get my other information. Ahaha. Okay, so my primary ability as a starting level wizard is intelligence. I start off with a 1d6 for hit points, and my saving throws are intelligence and wisdom. So I can fill in what those mean later. I'm starting at level 1, which means my proficiency bonus is +2. It's +2 for quite some time. And then I choose 2: Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, or Religion. We're gonna ditch Religion. I already have Investigation. Not Medicine. So I'm down to Arcana, History, Insight, or Nature. Thinking about me as a person growing up. Unfortunately, all 4 of these could fit. Oh, but I get an extra because of my human background. So what about like my top 3? My top 3 are probably Arcana and History. We'll go Arcana and History from the wizard background. And then I will tack on Nature from the skillful add-on that I got as a human. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to look at the origin feats, if I can find them. Still, in case you haven't noticed, I'm still getting used to how character builds for this version differ. Okay, let's see. Origin feats. Now, they recommended skilled. You gain proficiency in any combination of 3 skills or tools of your choice. Oh, dead. Any 3. Hold on. I had to check the tools list. So I went through all of the supplies and tools, and I think I'm going to take also a proficiency in cook's utensils. Which means I have 2 additional slots left from taking the skilled feat at level 1 to take a couple of others. I am going to take proficiency in athletics because even though I feel like I still have a lot to go, I have had a lot of experience on and off in the last decade, specifically in the last like 9 or 10 months. So that's cook's utensils, athletics. What is one other? I was thinking about insight. We'll go with insight. Okay. So as a level 1 wizard, before I roll any of my, ability dice, I have proficiency in athletics, arcana, history, investigation, nature, insight, perception, weaver's tools, cook's utensils. I have the crafter feat. I should check what that means because it sounded right when I took it. You can tell that I go to find familiar a lot because whenever I flip to further back in the book, that's the first page it goes to. It's almost like the wizard I'm playing in my actual game has a familiar and I don't ever remember what she does. I love her though. She's a little spider. She's my bestie. Her name's Ginger. Anyway, crafter. I gain proficiency with 3 different artisan tools. 3 different artisans tools from the fast crafting table. What is a fast crafting table? Okay, so we're taking the fast leatherwork, fast tinker, and the fast wood carver. Okay. Cool. So I have decided what my starting class is going to be, and I think we grabbed everything from that for level 1. And then hit dice should be whatever my constitution is. Right? That's always what it is. Usually. Okay. Okay. Now is the fun part, guys. Now is the time when I roll my dice and I find out what my ability scores are going to be. I'm a little scared. I am going to grab a sticky note, though, so I can keep track of what we get. Okay. I was going to do how I Hello? I was going to do how I normally make a character, which is what my habit is, which is that you roll 4. I have 4d6s. There's 4 of them. Wait, see. You roll 4, you remove whatever the lowest one is, and then you take the total from the other 3. And then you arrange them to be your ability scores. However, it hit me that that doesn't make sense when I'm making myself into a character, and there are other ways to set up ability scores that have a bit more control. When I'm rolling for a character, I like using dice because then it's random and then it's more, I feel, authentic to the chaos. But when I'm making myself into a character, I should have a little bit more control so I can feel adequately represented. So we are going to do the point buy system. I usually don't do this. I'm very unfamiliar with it, but we're going to try it. Pretty much what happens with point buy is that you start off with all 6 of your guys set up at an 8. So all of my ability scores are now technically an 8. However, I have a 27-point bank. This is my little bank that I can spend to increase those. Now, for a while, it kind of stays pretty simple. Doesn't cost you any points to stay at an 8. A 9 equals 1 point. 10 is 2. 11 is 3. 12 is 4. 13 is 5. 14, though, is 7, and 15 is 9. Now, this is the trade-off. You have more control over it, but there's not a chance for you to really get above a 15. So there's the 16, 17, 18 that you could potentially get on the dice that are not present here. However, I'm willing to take that bet. So I feel that I have like 2 mid, 2 high, and 2 low. I think my intelligence and my wisdom are my highest. I would say my dexterity and my constitution are my mid, and then charisma and strength are my lowest. Now, that's not to say that I'm not super charismatic, but I think in terms of building out a character specifically with the intent of using this to get me through to my marathon, I need to take that into account. So I think I should max out. Do I want to max out? No. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by making intelligence and wisdom 14. So that's an exchange of 7 for each of them. So 27 minus 14 is 13. So these are both currently 14s, and my bank is down to 13 points. Okay. That's fine. Wait. Okay, so I did just check. I need to have at least a 13 in dexterity. And I think I'm going to want to level up before level 4. So that means my dex is a 13. That's 5. So 13 minus 5 is 8. So I have 8 points left to spread between my constitution, my charisma, my strength, and my... my strength, my constitution, and my charisma. That's it. Okay. So if I don't think any of these are so bad that I should get a negative. I'm just going to call a spade right now. At an 8, your modifier is -1. So is a 9. But I think if I add 2 to strength, make that a 10. I think that's fair. Which means that I have 6 left. I have 6 points. I could bump both my charisma and my constitution to 11, and that would work. But I think I should probably bump my constitution to 12. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So we'll bump my constitution to 12, which is 4 points. And then I have 2 points left, which means I can make my charisma a 10. So that means without adding anything else, oh. Yeah, no, that seems right. So that means without adding anything else, I am getting off the cuff, off the jump, +2s to intelligence and wisdom, a +1 to dexterity, but that is the minimum of a 13 to multi-class. I'm getting a +1 to constitution, which seems right. And then I am getting ±0 to strength and charisma, which also seem right. So now I have to ask myself some important questions, because there's one thing that I haven't factored in yet, and that is the fact that I have 3 additional ability points to spread out between intelligence, dexterity, and strength. I don't think I should improve my strength. I think strength is fair at 10. I think that is more than adequate and representative of where I am. I have been a lot stronger. I'm not really that strong. I'd say I'm average, maybe just a hair above average, if for no other reason than because I have some experience. So I can put 2 to dexterity and 1 to intelligence, or I can flip-flop that. And I think it makes the most sense to flip-flop and give myself a 14 for dexterity. Hey! Which gives me a +2 to my dex checks. My constitution is still a 12, which means I get a +1. My intelligence is going to bump to a 16, which I believe is a +3. My wisdom is a 14, which is a +2. And then my charisma is a 10, which is a ±0, which means that my intelligence and wisdom saving throws, I don't know how I'm going to factor saving throws in yet, by the way, but they're a +4 and a +5 for those. And then strength is a 0, dex is +2, con and charisma. Okay, so your hit points. Spell slots prepared. Ba ba ba. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's 1d6 per wizard level. If it doesn't change, you know what, screw it. Which one do we trust? Which one of these? I've been going with this one lately. This is the one that I've been using for my other wizard. But I also like this one. Hold on. The universe says to use this one. Hopefully the universe isn't failing me. So when you're figuring out hit points, it's whatever you roll plus your constitution modifier. That's a 3. So currently, I'm a level 1 wizard with 4 hit points. My AC is 12. That's my armor class. My initiative is +2. I hope I don't get hit. All right. So that is just the basics. And now I get to talk to you guys about some of the other fun parts, because this whole getting a new notebook thing actually started with the idea that I should flavor my habit tracking like a spell book. So what I'm going to do is the next couple pages, that's page 1, pages 2 and 3 are going to have actually my spell list. So I'm going to have cantrips, and then I'm going to have spells. My spells I'm not going to level, but what pretty much is going to happen is I am going to set up 10, we'll start with 10 cantrips, so 10 smaller daily habits, and then I'm going to set up 12 spells, 2 for each ability modifier. One is going to be a workout, and one is going to be a non-workout related thing. And then this is going to just be kind of my almost like front appendix information. And then on the page after, I'm going to set it up as a tracker, and I'll explain that a bit more. But I'm going to write down all of my spells. I will be right back. All right, it took me a minute, but I do now have my notebook fully set up for my first level. So, as I keep showing you guys, this is my cover. I'm obsessed with it. I did slap a little sticker on the back. I had these stickers for a while and I just didn't use them a lot. One thing I like about this notebook is that it has a table of contents in the front. So the first couple pages I have laid out, and then as I go through chapter by chapter, or if there's something important that I want to make sure I know what page it's on, I'm going to add it in here. And then, and I know I've showed this to you guys a couple times, I've completed my character sheet, including my backstory, which, if you don't mind, I'm going to share. I am a well-trained scholar with many hobbies that I am proficient in. My expertise in the arts has led me to a thirst for knowledge and understanding. As I have developed more of an understanding of both my arts and the arcane, I have grown to realize there is one realm I do not yet have complete mastery over, my own body. I am drawn to physical manners of expression now and seek out the knowledge and wisdom that comes from pushing myself mentally, physically, and creatively. So if I was playing a actual campaign, that is what my backstory and my arc would be based on, but that's just real life for me right now. My next two pages are my cantrips and my spells. You'll notice that I left a little bit of space here for more cantrips and a little bit of space in each spell box. So my cantrips include drinking enough water, it's 100 ounces, sleeping at least 7 hours, journaling, meditating at least 5 minutes, tidying up, cooking or eating at least one vegan meal, completing morning and evening skincare, pulling a tarot card for a reading, taking a 5-minute walk outside like a sunshine break, and then reaching out to someone I'm calling it cast sending. So those are my 10 go-to cantrips. I will be picking 5 each day. And then my spells, I have 2 per ability, so my 2 for strength are my CrossFit class, and then muscle recovery. For dexterity, it's my yoga, and then crafting, being dexterous and stitching and stuff with your hands, less so your whole body, sometimes your whole body. For constitution, my workout is my long run, as it should be. And then also meal prepping, specifically, once again, vegan meals. Intelligence, my activities, actually my active recovery day. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then my non-workout is filming, is doing stuff like this. Wisdom is my easy run and a stability workout. And then doing a tarot card pull and journaling, combining the 2 together. I think if I'm going to pick that as one of my spells or my goals for the day, I'm not going to pick it as a cantrip. So that way I'm not double dipping. I think that makes sense. And then my charisma, my workout is my speed drills and a strength workout. And my non-workout is spending time with friends. I have 2 pages blocked out. Nothing's really here yet, but this little blank box is where I'm going to be putting anything that comes up when I start multi-classing, key points and things like that, and how that's going to translate to how I am as a person. And then this is my important dates, just so I have a little log of things that I want to make sure I remember. And then, originally I was going to do a portrait, but I realized there were too many boxes. So I did my level 1 landscape. Boop. So I have date information. These are my cantrips right here, spells, and then this is where I'm going to get XP. I meant to leave a little space between my spells and my XP, and I forgot. So you'll notice I haven't selected my cantrips yet. I'm probably going to do that morning of, or like the night before, but a lot of my spells I can sort of pre-plan, because I already know, for instance, that Monday, the 26th, I know for certain that I'm going to do yoga because it's my yoga day. I also know that I'm going to meal prep and film because I have tomorrow off. And then I'd have to pick out a 4th one. And I think I'm probably going to end up doing a journal and a tarot pull. So I already have my 4 spells picked out for Monday. I have to pick out my ones for today and then for the rest of the week. But a lot of those, especially the workout ones, I can sort of pre-plan. And that's because I have some appendices in the back of this notebook that include some of my other things that I just I'll share because I'm extra. So I have all these pages to go through my levels and my notes and journal and all that fun stuff. And then, you can see that. And that's a sneak preview. But I have a calendar for my videos that I want to drop. I'm probably not going to get beyond like 2 weeks in advance for filming, but I want to have at least the ideas planned out a month in advance. So I have it through the week after the marathon. So that's all my videos. That doesn't look like a lot, but at the same time, that's a lot of weeks. You know what I mean? And then this is my actual marathon training plan. I have this digitally. I keep it on my phone, but I wanted a printed copy in my planner just in case. So more or less everything is the same throughout. So I do yoga and core every Monday, right? And then I have, these are the distances that I run, and then the workout is down below. And then this is CrossFit, and this is just a note about CrossFit, and that's how I put it together. If I have to reorder how these days happen, that's fine. Like if I needed to switch yoga and my run, I would do that. And then I would just switch off and cross off the run for Monday and then that on Tuesday, if that makes sense. But more or less, these are all of the workouts I want to hit. I do have now Friday as my flex day. I have rest, mobility drills, or an extra CrossFit class, and those I am cycling through depending. And then the last little guy is this checklist right here that I actually want to share with you guys next week, because I have a plan to make my own wardrobe, which sounds crazy. I've already done this though, technically. I did a 12-piece capsule wardrobe that has been my baby for the last like year and a half. And it's not the only thing that I wear, but it now makes up probably, at one point it was 90% of what I wore, but a lot of things have gone through some wear and tear. I had my favorite cardigan, this is all black, that I got white paint on, that is now dead to the world. Are things that have sort of impacted the wearability of that wardrobe, and I have come up with a couple ideas for what I want my next one to look like. I'll share a little bit about what that one looked like, and then what this plan is next week, and why I am deciding to undertake a massive project alongside marathon training. Here's a sneak peek. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm gonna do it. So yeah, that's this is my little spell book. I'm gonna be a little wizard now. I don't think it'll take me probably more than a week to get the 300 XP to technically level up to level 2. Next week we're going to talk about cooking. I'm going to talk to you. I mentioned the word vegan a lot in this video, and I'm going to talk about why. And we're going to make some spring roll bowls or something like that. I don't know yet. But we are going to do that, and I will give you an update on how this is going, just to keep you guys in the loop. And that's that. Thank you. I know this was a long one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to sharing this and everything that comes along with it with you guys in the coming weeks, starting with next Sunday. Bye.